HitFilm Sensei here. In this video, we're going to talk about how to use lens dirt and light flares to sell your shot and make it look like it was really there using a really good camera. So we're going to talk about a couple of different scenarios, one of which is going to be this one where the footage or the camera is actually locked down, okay? This way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and make this into a composite shot. Camera is locked down. Take a look at this, okay? And you can see that I'm actually pointing at the sun with the camera, and about right here you can see the light leak that's happening. You can tell that the sun is somewhere up, you know, around maybe here at this point, right? And it is shining through to this thing, okay? So, well, this is just my cell phone, and that wouldn't create a whole lot of light leaking, okay? But a real camera would have a lot more. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit more to that. We're going to start by adding a light flare effect, boom, and I'm just going to slide it back and out until it's about there. Now see, there's the light flare. It looks like without the light flare, with it, that looks pretty good right there. It's just sort of enhancing it, okay? So that's the first thing I'm gonna do. Just add a little bit more of it, make it look a little more real. Then I'm gonna cheat. Now the HitFilm Pro version has a really nice lens dirt effect, but the HitFilm Express version does not. But that's okay, I'm gonna cheat anyway. I've downloaded a lens dirt JPEG from the internet, and I'm just gonna drag and drop that. And you can see it's really large, okay? And I'm gonna scale it down so you get an idea of what it looks like. And I kind of want just this piece of it, this white part here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rotate it a little bit like this, and then sort of rescale it, you know, and maybe move it so that I just have the maybe a little bit of the orange up on the top there, and the rest is just white, okay? And then all I'm going to do is just affect the opacity, and I'm gonna really knock it down to about 5%. Barely even visible, okay? But it is. And if you look, if I go ahead and I go back to scale to fit, and then I toggle that on and off, you can see that there's just a little bit of lens dirt that's on there, and that sells the shot being more of a cinematography camera shot, right? Cinematic camera shot, right? Okay, let's talk about selling movement, okay? Now, if you look at this shot, I took this out in the backyard of my karate school, or behind my school. You could see that when I move the camera across the sun in the background, well, guess what? It is catching light leaks and lens flares, and it's moving, as you can tell, right? So I used this shot, which is a static lockdown shot, and then I created this shot, and this shot is a moving shot, and I was able to add in the Star Destroyer. Now, the thing about the Star Destroyer is that it's, you know, it's not really there. But using the lockdown shot, I didn't have to do any tracking or nothing like that. And it was very easy for me to add that Star Destroyer in. And I'll leave a link in the description below to the video shows how I actually did that. But to sell this moving camera shot, what I need to do is I need to add some moving light flares and light leaks. So I have my quote-unquote moving camera shot here, and what I'm going to do is make a composite shot out of that, and there, see the Star Destroyer, and then I'm having it move. But we know that it isn't really moving. The camera's not really moving. I just electronically panned from here down to here on a lockdown shot, okay? But in real life, if I was moving that camera, then there would be some lens flare going on, okay? And the lens flare would be moving like in my other shot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by adding my light flare again, okay? And there it is. Obviously, it's not going to be in the shot, okay? I'm going to scroll out here, and I'm going to move this thing off camera. Now, you can see that when I move it, you can see like right there, that actually would go this way. Okay, now if I started way up here and then I moved down to there, the sun itself would move up in the shot in real life. And so the flare would move from here to there. And so the flare kind of tracks with the shot of the sun moving the opposite way. It tracks with the movement of the camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start here, and then I'm going to keyframe the hotspot position. And then I'm going to go to the end of where the movement stops, because it does stop about there. And I'm going to move this across the sky to about there, you see? Okay, now I want to make these into smooth keyframes. That way it looks like it's moving along with the camera. And now if you watch this, you can see how the light flare crosses. See it right there? It's just crossing. It's just enough to sell that effect, okay? Now it's very subtle, but we don't want too much. I could increase the intensity a little bit of the light flare. You see, it's a little bit bigger, right? It sort of leaks through here a little bit, but that's okay, right? I'm good with that. You could see how that sort of travels. This part travels. Also, I can bring this in a bit so that it travels inside the camera more. And I can increase the scale of that somewhat too, okay, just to get a feel for that, all right? So that's the first part. Then the second part is I'm going to go in and add in my lens dirt again, okay? And just like before, I'm going to adjust it down, okay, in opacity to about 5%, just a little bit, right? But again, I'm going to start here, and I'm going to keyframe the position. And then when I get to the end of the movement, about right there, I'm going to slide it down right like that, okay? And again, I'll smooth keyframe those. So then what I have when I'm all said and done is just a little bit of motion. You can see it moving down with the, see how that light is just moving. It's very subtle. I could, if I increase it to 20%, then you'd see it really big, right? And you could see that it's sliding down right that way. And that might be what you're going for. I obviously didn't want to go that much, so I went about 5%, just barely enough to create what looks to be a little bit of sun movement in the background. And that really sells the shot as being a genuine moving shot as opposed to a lockdown position. So that's how you use those light flares and that lens dirt to sell your shot and make it look more cinematic and more real. So if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments. Otherwise, hey, thanks for watching.